January 11th, 2001, my girlfriend at the time, Sonia Beth Chamberlain, in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, got a restraining order against me. I brought her back to court April 13th. A woman in Attleboro District Court posed as her lawyer. The judge that day, his name is Greg Phillips. They upheld the order. April 20th, 7 days later, people I was friends with at the time, Denny O'Brien and Mike McGill, both from Rentham, Massachusetts, told me she wanted to talk to me, to go to her house and then meet them at Jim Sewell's house, which is in Bellingham, Massachusetts. I went to her house. I was confronted by her father, Robert Chamberlain. I told him I was told she wanted to talk to me. He told me she wasn't there. I told him I was sorry. I left, and I proceeded to the house I was told to meet Denny O'Brien and Mike McGill at. I was pulled over by the Franklin police and surrounded at gunpoint. They brought me to their station and had me read my rights on a bulletin board, and never told me why I was arrested. Later that night, the North Attleboro police picked me up and took me to their station, and they didn't tell me why I was arrested. They put me in cell 1. The second day in there, they served me an Italian sub and a drink that was spiked. I don't know what was in it, but something was in the drink. They kept banging on walls and they kept me awake for 4 days when I was in that police station. An officer pulled me out of a chair by my shackles, and they brought me upstairs to a room and tried to get me to sign a confession before I went to court. They flew a helicopter over the police station and shined a sniper rifle on me. I couldn't see the helicopter. It's dark in the roof, but I could hear it. There's definitely an opening because the red light was shining on my body. They then took me to Attleboro Court, and never in front of a judge. They put me in a van and took me to Dartmouth House of Corrections. The sheriff's name is Thomas Hodgkins. The third day I was in there, I was put in a room and I was beaten 6-on-1. I say I was hit 50 to 100 times. At the end of the beating, I was kicked in the head. There were 2 guards at the door at this time, and they took me out of that room and took me to have my head x-rayed. They then put me in a room with a bent up metal bed. They didn't let me use the phone for 2 weeks. They were banging on walls, making me think like they were going to kill me. That's what they were saying they were going to do. Then 5 to 7 guards attacked me for no reason. Choked me unconscious and slammed me in a chair and chained me to it for, I would say, about 24 hours. They then put me in a room with no clothes and nothing in it. I heard a guard say, "What did they do to this guy? Look at his back." I also had 2 partial black eyes. An inmate in there nicknamed me Raccoon. They told me to put a cold cloth over my face every day, so I don't think they wanted me to go back to court with 2 partial black eyes. They also had an inmate hitting on me, and they took us to a room and took his blood, and then they threatened me with the same needles and threatened to put me in the same room as that inmate. They also had a nurse take my blood pressure erotically like 10 times. A guard was standing at the door, said he saw that. I don't know what he saw. They then put me in general population. They let me out of a cell, and a guard to my left said they would ambush my family. They tricked me into reading 5 books: Silence of the Lambs, Gorky Park, Strange Highways, The Giver, an encyclopedia book that had 4 short stories to try to brainwash me in there. They brought me back to court for the 3rd time. A guard behind me said, "Who's going to believe my story? Do it and die." They brought me in front of a judge, appointed me a lawyer. Her name was Joan M. Funn. They dismissed the home invasion, and I got 18 months probation for breaking the restraining order. Joan M. Funn said they would let me go if I agreed to the probation. I was under duress at the time. So I agreed. I don't want to go back to the jail facility after all the things they were doing to me in there. Was set up. Those citizens and police conspired against me. I was put on probation May 24th, 2001 to November 15th, 2002. My probation officer at the time, his name was Victor Rodriguez. Near the end of my probation, I told him I was set up and some of the things that were done to me, and he laughed. November 1st, 2004, I got a job at a company called Mass Movement in Walpole, Massachusetts. The boss's name is Jim Sullivan. February 16th, a coworker slapped my hand in a work truck when I tried to turn the radio station. February 17th, The Rentham police charged my house, where I was living at the time, with a friend of mine named Micah Thompson, and they arrested me for a bomb threat hijack of Attleboro Police Station. The Walpole police put out a warrant for my arrest. Their report had the Attleboro Police Station. The Rentham police report had the North Attleboro Police Station and Attleboro District Court. The Rentham District Court document had a bomb threat hijack of North Attleboro Police Station. They also had charges, threats to commit a crime, and assault and battery. I never threatened to bomb anything. I didn't threaten anyone. And I was assaulted. This coworker slapped my hand. And in 2001, I was put in a room and I was beaten 6-on-1. The Rentham Court Judge, Jean Emma Smith Johnson, sent me for a 20-day evaluation at Bridgewater State Mental Hospital. A forensic doctor read what they wrote and read my story, and within 15 minutes, he says he thinks that it's a conspiracy against me. They dismissed everything 10 months later, February 2005 to November 2005. 2006, I was speaking to a lawyer. I was going to sue the company for malicious intent and slander and sue the police for false arrest. They ran me over with an 18-wheeler truck. When I lived in Bellingham, Massachusetts, I was working as a chimney sweep at the time, climbing 40-foot ladders, risking my life every day for $10.60, rebuilding chimneys and putting in steel liners. The Bellingham police called it an accident. To me, I think it was an attempted murder on my life. 2007, I didn't leave the house. I lived with my mother at an in-law apartment at 15 Gendarmerie Place in Norwell, Massachusetts. I also lived there in 2005, and they did a lot of things to me there. The people that lived there work at Hingham Court, which is on the south shore of Boston, but I'm not going to get into all the things that they did to me there. 2008, I lived in New York City. I worked for a garbage sanitation company out there that tried to hurt me on more than one occasion. I survived. 2009, 2010, I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada. I put in for disability because these people have made my life to the point where I couldn't go out and work and get a job and not have to worry about, somebody setting me up or people trying to hurt me. And it made me real paranoid, and I put in for other disabilities. I broke my right leg in half years ago, and other things, and depression, and I got my I ended up getting my disability, and I get my money every month, and I moved back to Las Vegas because I like the area, and I live in my own apartment now. But when I went back to Boston, they used people there to harass me in the shelter. Sometimes I didn't stay there. I would sleep outside. When it would rain out, I used to sleep on a lobby park bench in the Boston Police Station, Area 1A in Charleston. I also stayed during the day at Our Lady of Victory's Catholic Church on Isabel Street in Boston. I contacted the Boston FBI in 2005 and emailed them in 2009. And I walked right into their office with my handwritten story in 2011 and spoke to a few FBI agents in there, and they told me that I would be the last to be contacted if they were investigating these people. Years ago, they told me to call these police and contact them for help, and I told them, how can I contact these people, or these police rather, when they, along with the citizens there, are the ones committing these crimes against me? I've contacted all these local police, a Lieutenant McGrath of Rentham Police. I spoke to him many times on the phone and left him numerous messages, and he said he wouldn't help me. I mean, I didn't think they were going to help me anyways, but, and I don't think they were investigating it. I've sent the White House my recorded voice, my story, and I've also sent my story to the American Civil Liberties Union in Massachusetts. And they said they didn't get my handwritten statements. Recently, when I was in Boston, I walked right into the American Civil Liberties Union and handed them my handwritten statements, and they said they couldn't represent me for whatever reason. I mean, they represent the KKK, they represent Islam, and for some reason they wouldn't represent me, and they didn't give me a specific reason. I've emailed the President of the United States, Barack Obama, for 2 years and have not gotten a response. His friend, the professor there, he was there for him in less than 24 hours, and then he drank beer with the Massachusetts police and the professor at the White House. I've emailed the FBI in 9 states: Boston, Connecticut, Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Washington, D.C., Seattle, Nevada, and L.A. Specific reasons why I emailed these states. There's 56 offices. There's 47 that I haven't emailed, and I haven't gotten a response from them. My grandfather there is a retired Boston police officer. He's retired in Florida, but he was on the bomb squad in Boston, and he was on the Harbor Patrol. In 1997, in Franklin, Rentham, Massachusetts, I lived on a monastery there, St. Mary's Church Monastery. I lived with a former police chief of Norfolk Police in Massachusetts. I lived there with his sons. I was friends with them at the time. And they had a party. It was a bachelor party. And there was crack cocaine, there was cocaine, there was marijuana, alcohol drinking, and lesbians on this monastery. In 2001, my girlfriend, Sonia Beth Chamberlain, worked at the Lemon Elementary Daycare Center, which is located on the same street. And I picked out a phony courtroom in 2001 in Attleboro District Court. So I know because of these things that are involved and things that I know, that these people have been trying to hurt me and steal my freedom. And they've been selfish of their reputations and trying to protect their reputations in these places and ruin mine. Now, I was set up into the law, and these people had me raise my right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And I was set up into the law. I hold an American flag right now in my right hand, and they have violated my 1st, 4th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th Amendments in the United States of America. And I think I deserve justice for what was done to me.